There's been no shortage of biopic movies out there, from the likes of Steve Jobs, Elton John, and most recently, Elvis. We Are OFK feels like an interesting experiment in the same vein, as it's also a biopic, but one that tells the story of a band leading up to the actual release of their EP. More unique is the fact that this biopic is not only an episodic release that releases a single from the EP each episode, but more that it's in fact a video game. OFK is a first in that regard, at least as far as I can recall, and one that resonated with me in so many ways. We Are OFK is broken up into 5 episodes, with each episode clocking in at about an hour outside of the last one, which is about an hour and a half. The story takes place in modern day Los Angeles, following a group of friends and artists who, like many of us in LA, are working day jobs and pursuing dreams in our free time. OFK paints an authentic view of not only the city and the people of LA, but ultimately the culture. As someone living in Los Angeles, I really appreciated that, as it's something I haven't really seen come across in many video games recently. It felt special in that case, and the more time I spent with these characters, the more I wish they were real. This biopic is the story of the virtual band of artists played by real-life artists, though in various other categories outside of music. They did a marvelous job at bringing them to life and feeling real. Itsumi plays the keys while working at a video game company during the day and playing classical music in her free time. She recently just moved from Torrance, California into Los Angeles, and the adjustment is taking some time for her. Jey is a relatively well-known music producer, but one pressured by her family to make more money and have more name recognition. She's looking for something that makes her happy, but also climbing the corporate music ladder in the process. Luca is a graduate from music school who writes for a video game company, but dreams of writing his music full-time. He longs to write music that speaks to people while being unapologetically himself. Carter works as a VJ in Los Angeles, creating marvelous visual musical effects that accompany concerts and shows. They're the most reclusive of the bunch, oftentimes being the shoulder to lean on for their friends. Despite their different paths in life, they come together in the city to follow their dreams and support each other in the real-life struggles of trying to reach them. It's a heartwarming story that I immediately fell in love with. I was hooked by the end of each episode and wanted to see more of these friends' adventures by the time I got to the end, because I was a bit let down by the slightly abrupt ending. With just being the prologue to the band coming together for each episode, I hope it's not the last we see of them. We Are OFK plays more like an interactive TV show than a traditional video game. The game is broken up into episodes that'll release on a weekly basis, with the first 2 episodes launching on August 18th. Hovering over each episode on the menu gives you a runtime for its entirety, with an option to listen to the interactive video game music video separately. It's in the same menu you can access Itsumi's DM chat, which acts as a meta commentary on the current events of the story. It's a neat little addition that acts as a transitional piece between episodes. When starting an episode, you'll be presented with a widescreen view of the gameplay that comes off as an interactive show in many ways. Scenes play out with the occasional choice to make a decision in dialogue, a text message, and so on. These choices usually alter the reaction or the subject of a conversation, but not to the point where the story greatly divulges into different paths. At any point you can pause the game and see a timeline of how far along you are in the episode, as if you were pausing a TV show. You can also choose to restart a specific scene if you want to change your dialogue choice. It's a very minimalistic setup that stays pretty much the same up until the end of each episode. Around the end of every episode is where that episode's music video is. These sections are live music videos made in Unity and are thus interactive and playable in fact, but like most of the game, it's very simple. I describe these sequences as more like WarioWare microware games. They felt like they were there to keep my brain active as opposed to really complementing the music or the impact of the music. Sayonara Wild Hearts comes to mind as another recent indie that did the whole interactive music with gameplay, and while simple in that iteration as well, I think it did it better, at least with the gameplay side. I wish the gameplay was more in sync with the music, or at least complemented it better. After beating We Are OFK, I went back to see if not doing anything would keep the music from going, and it didn't. Ultimately meaning that you could just not interact with it at all and still finish the game, making it rather pointless. Even then, I found myself encapsulated by the band's journey and found it hard to really dislike the game, even with my gripes regarding the gameplay elements. We Are OFK is a lovely looking game with bright colors and beautiful lighting. Scenes are covered in these bright hues that feel like paintings come to life as the characters interact with them. The characters are beautifully animated and capture the performance of the entire cast. The variety of districts of Los Angeles like downtown LA, Silver Lake, and Pasadena to the very far out there Palm Springs feel accurately represented as I'd watch the characters make their way around town and to the outskirts of California. I played on PC and was easily able to maintain a 4K 60 performance, though some of the backgrounds don't scale entirely well to that resolution. I noticed that some backgrounds came out a bit blurrier at those higher resolutions than in lower ones, but not to the point that the image looked bad. Likewise, you can expect solid performance across the board on consoles. I also tested the game on Steam Deck, and outside of the aspect ratio being a little odd since it's 16:9, the game looked fine. The touchscreen really complemented the more laid-back interactive gameplay, and the same goes for the Nintendo Switch. Omniboy has done a fantastic job composing the music for OFK, from the more lively Follow Unfollow track that feels like a summer pop sensation, to the slower sad track Fool's Gold. I was enthralled by the music. Fool's Gold specifically does a great job at capturing the whole "it's hard to be a young artist in LA" vibe. The whole EP does cross various genres, but each brought something special to the table. Even the music just behind the main menu I thought was good, calming and relaxing. It's hard to really go into detail about the last 3 songs of the EP since they won't be out by the time this review is, but I can confidently say I enjoyed the package as a whole, so much so that I already in fact pre-ordered the vinyl. As for performance, the cast knocked it out of the park. I thoroughly believe these were real friends on this journey. There was this whole aura of authenticity between the band members, even the side characters who complemented the main cast on their journey well. We Are OFK is an enjoyable, heartwarming, and honestly feel-good story of these young friends just trying their best in Los Angeles. I resonated wholeheartedly as someone sort of doing that right now, and I think that's why it felt so authentic. The characters and writing hooked me instantly to the point that it left me wanting more. I do wish the gameplay parts were as well thought out and designed as the rest of the package, because compared to everything else, they felt shallow and rather tacked on. Even then, that gripe wasn't enough to sink the game for me, as I came out of it ready to hear more on what was next for the band. Here's to hoping that there is.